Welcome, everybody, and we are fired up for another sensational college football matchup. Nobody at home today who can stake their claim in this neutral site showdown. We've got a terrific matchup for you today, rich in pageantry and tradition, and it ought to be a fantastic clash. As we see a squad from the Big 12, the Kansas Jayhawks, taking on a team from the SEC, the South Carolina Gamecocks. For EA Sports College Football, I'm Reese Davis, joined here in the booth, as always, by David Pollack and Jesse Palmer. Guys, let's tee this one up. The Jayhawks will kick it off to get us underway. Here he comes from inside his own 5. Not a lot of space to be found. Good hustle by the coverage team, and they stop him at the 21. The offense set for a first down play. Wide receiver now comes in motion. Quick pass on the jet motion. The defense wouldn't let him loose, and even though it's a completion, they lost yardage.
Got to give the defense credit. Watching film, anticipating. They knew that this offense had this play in their back pocket. They knew about the speed of this wide receiver and different ways they were going to try to get him involved. Everybody on defense on the same page, playing together. I love it.
They get it out to the 36 and on the move after a pickup of 15. They've got it at the 36. It's a 1st and 10. Back to throw, it's Sellers. Steps away to find some room. Able to get just a few before sliding to avoid the hits.
Hey, listen, it's important at that position to be able to be good off schedule. Everything's easy when it's on time. You can get the ball out. But when things break down, they get off schedule. You've got to have a guy back there that can make the right decisions. He did exactly that.
Trying to get to him. It's complete. And they got the defense on that one, and they get it to the 29-yard line.
That's what's so scary about this offense. They've got guys in the perimeter that can change the game in one single play, and you saw it right there. Too much speed on the perimeter to create that explosive play.
And the Gamecocks are moving quickly down the field. On the run, it's Sanders. And a pickup of 8 opens a world of opportunities on 2nd and 2.
Keep pounding away at this defense and make them play the run. If you can get this many a chunk, they're going to have to commit more guys to the box, more guys to the run. Then you open it up for the passing.
8-yard pickup on 1st down leaves them with 2nd and short. Looking for a physical attack from the gun. Brought to the ground, but not before getting enough for the 1st down.
And that's back-to-back now. We've seen this running back get it done on their opening drive of the game. That last carry got the 1st down. So if I'm the offensive coordinator right now, I love the way my O-line's playing, and I love the way this guy's toting the rock. I'm going to give it to him again.
The Gamecocks will have it 1st and 10. He wants to throw. Moving, keeping the eyes downfield. And he'll step into the end zone. Touchdown, Gamecocks. What a quick start for this offense, putting up points on the 1st drive.
And that's got to feel good, Maurice. You've been practicing all week. You've been practicing against the looks you were anticipating to see from this defense. You get those looks, you're able to come out, you run the ball, you throw the ball. And this offense right now is in a groove early.
And with the extra point, they get the first 7 of the game. So it's a 77-yard touchdown drive, and it was punctuated by an 11-yard run for the school. About to kick it off after punching it in for the touchdown. It bounds through the back of the end zone. It'll be a touchback. A first down for the offense. Now after that run, they're in pretty good shape at the 30-yard line. Ran the ball on first down. Let's see what they do on second. Moving the running back, trying to get the D to tip its hand. Afterburners coming. The 30. Running inside the 20. Touchdown, Jayhawks. He broke away from the defense, and they couldn't catch him.
If I'm a play caller nowadays, man, I want more guys like this. Just versatility. You can see he can catch it out of the backfield like a wide receiver, or he can run it. Nice job catching the football with his hands, using his speed to do the rest and get it to the end zone.
And we're all square as he set to kick it away. On the move from inside his 5. He was looking for more running room, but none to be found as he stopped at the 23. And the South Carolina offense is back on the field. How about the way they attacked the last time they had the ball, mixing run and pass and winding up in the end zone, Jesse?
That's why recruiting is so important. They've got weapons at every skill position on the field. Any of these guys is dangerous if they touch the football. Let's see what they do on this drive, David.
And so, Palmer, I got to take away something. I can't let them have everything and have success. I got to be aggressive against the run or play for the pass. I can't give them everything.
Now improvising. Bought a little time, lets it go. Grab near the marker, it's Sanders. There to make the stop, but they use the back in the passing game and pick up the first down.
I just love quarterbacks that aren't greedy and that aren't always trying to throw the home run ball, right? Second down, you're in your own end of the field. The guy you want to throw to is not open. Just find the back. He'll go do something positive with it. This guy is a weapon. You got to find him in the passing game.
And maybe they want to try somewhere else because there is nothing doing in the middle of this defense.
Great team defense on that run play. Everybody doing their job. People winning their one-on-ones, D linemen staying in their gaps, linebackers and DBs filling. You just can't do it better.
Finds his man. It's Sanders. Finding open areas. He's run out of bounds, but a big play on that one, and it'll be a first down.
And that's why, if you're the offensive coordinator, you've got to find as many ways as possible to get this guy going. Just get him the ball close to the line of scrimmage. Doesn't need to be a throw deep down the field. He's so dynamic when he has the ball in his hands. You saw it right there.
And the Gamecocks have this offense rolling. Dropping back, it's Sellers. Pressure coming. Quarterback just flat missed it. Incomplete. Now on second down. Quarterback checking off. On second down, he's looking downfield. Got it in the middle, it's Brown. Really nice pickup on that one as they get it to the 36. It'll be first down.
Really nice job on that play. Quarterback and receiver being on the same page. Quarterback not telegraphing the throw, and the receiver does a nice job finding the soft spot in the defense, just settling down and giving his quarterback a nice target to throw to.
Gets it out quickly. He will step out of bounds, but not before the big pickup and a first down for this offense.
This defense is going to have to be careful. Not only do they have to worry about this guy running the football, but they've got to keep their eye on him when he runs routes too. He is a versatile back.
They'll try to get outside. Nowhere to run on that one. He loses 4 on the carry. Second down here as they go back to work after the break. They'll run play action. Keeps looking downfield. The quarterback bought as much time as he could, but the defense got to him and sacked him.
What a great play by the defensive tackle. Look, sacks aren't just for very athletic, long defensive ends. These D tackles, man, they use their strength. They push linemen back in the pocket, collapse it, come away with the sack.
Ninth play of the drive coming up, but this one will be tough. 3rd and long. Looking to throw, and he needs a chunk play. He'll try to do it himself. And he gets out of there and gets some yardage and gets down without taking any punishment.
You just feel like throughout the course of this game, this guy's just going to have to make plays like this, right? Things aren't always going to be perfect, and protection's not going to be ideal. You're going to have to play with some effort, make some scrambles, make some things happen when plays break down, and at least try to put your offense in good positions. Wasn't able to get the first down there, but now he makes this decision a little more interesting here on 4th.
After putting up a 3-spot, the kickoff unit set to go. And he's going to bring it out. Not nearly as much as he'd hoped when he brought it out of the end zone. He'll be stopped at the 15. Kansas gets the ball back, and the Jayhawk offense is ready to go to work. Davey, they'd love to do what they did last time and put this one in the end zone.
You ain't lying. They did a great job. The offense was clicking. Everything went well. Palmer, they executed and got the touchdown.
And they really were in a nice rhythm as well. And I'd love to see that here on the next drive, too. Just keep doing what you're doing. Everything seems to be working, and you seem to have this defense on their heels.
Picked up 2 yards on that last one. They need 8 on 2nd down. Running back goes in motion. Quarterback quick pass to the receiver. Nice move to stay on his feet. That may not look like a huge run, but they'll take it as it gets him up to the 24. And the Jayhawks racing to the line in the hurry-up. With jet sweep pass. He's stopped quickly, but not before he has enough for the first down.
I love the idea, and I love just finding ways to get your best players out in the open field. This pre-snap motion and using it to their advantage on that last play, I think that was a nice call.
The Jayhawks with the 1st and 10. Use the play fake, now to throw. It's complete to the right. At the 45 on its way. Nothing but green ahead. And they'll do more than move the chains. They'll move that thing more than 30 yards down the field before he's finally stopped.
I know it's early in the game, but defensively after that play, you know you have to tackle the catch. When this guy gets the ball in his hands, he is so dangerous after the fact. So it's okay for him to make catches. You just got to get him to the ground quickly.
Motion by the back forces the defense to adjust. And he's almost to that first down marker there, saying he's a little bit short. They might want to bring out the sticks and measure, but it looks as if he'll be just short of the first down. 2nd down coming up on this red zone opportunity. Motion from the offense. Quarterback flips it ahead quickly to the receiver. And the Jayhawks get enough to move the chains.
I just love the play call. You're getting a fast player out of the open field, and it's enough to get you a first down.
First down here with time for maybe one more play until the 2-minute warning. The clock has reached the 2-minute mark, and they have a chance to at least cut into this lead before the break. They've moved it into scoring territory, 1st and 10 from the 11. From the gun, he leaves it with the back. And he rolls into the house. Touchdown, Rock Chalk!
And that is exactly what you want from your offense. Man, late in the half, you want to execute and then punch it in physically on the ground. Take the lead going into the half. Take all the momentum. Nice execution on the drive by that offense.
And the extra point is good. About to kick it away after scoring the touchdown. Looks as if the returner will try and field this one. Really disciplined job by the coverage unit to get down there and make the stop at the 19. South Carolina ready to go on the attack in another offensive odyssey. David, they couldn't pay off that last drive with a touchdown.
Now they moved the ball down the field and executed like they wanted to until they stalled out and had to settle for a field goal.
I think if you want to take the next step, too, here and score a touchdown, you got to start finding more creative ways to get your best players the ball. Let's see if they can do that here.
This offense has a 2nd down play. Wants to throw. It's Sellers. Buys a little time. He'll pull it down and run. And he scoots his way to the 1st down and then slides to avoid the hit.
You know, QBs want to make those big plays. They want to put up the big stats. But when nothing's there, sometimes you just tuck the ball, get a minimal gain. I like the slide, by the way, too. Get down and don't take a big hit.
He's looking to throw it. He'll off one deep down the left side. Throw toward the end zone, picked off right at the goal line. And the offense makes the tackle in frustration after the interception. Drive comes up empty, and it's a turnover.
Well, the quarterback on that one put a lot of air under the ball. The problem is he gave the defender time to get his head around and locate him. Because of that, he was able to come away with the interception.
And they'll bring him down after a short pickup.
And those physical runs take a toll. It might not be a big gain now, but down the road, 3rd, 4th quarter, late in the ball games, they tend to turn into bigger runs.
Didn't get much on 1st down. It's 2nd and 9. Receiver on the move gets the touch pass. Hit the gas, kid. Wide open ahead. He's inside the 40. Running inside the 20. And into the end zone he goes. Touchdown, Rock Chalk Jayhawk!
Man, how hard is it to defend when you have a weapon like this at running back that can play wide receiver? You can design ways to get the football in his hand. Palmer, once you get it in his hands, he'll do the rest.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, and oftentimes those are easier throws for quarterbacks. These running backs, they're just naturally so good when they have the football out in space. Their vision, their creativity, their ability to make people miss. And this guy showed you right there, a difficult guy to stop now if you're this defense moving forward.
And he takes this from inside the 5. And he's able to pick his way through the traffic nicely for a good return on that one before he's brought down. And the South Carolina offense is back on the field. Getting late here in the 1st half, they'll have a chance to make this a one-possession game.
And the offensive play caller here has to really be dialed in. It's important down 2 possessions, David, that they're able to score some points. And you got to call your best stuff in this 2-minute situation.
And such a good opportunity to cut into a 1-score game, create that momentum, get some good juices going for the 2nd half. Because obviously, you built yourself a little bit of a deficit. You need some good things to happen, and it needs to happen on this possession.
Looking for a man. It's Sellers. Deep shot for the end zone. And he's got it. Touchdown, South Carolina.
And I tell you what, that passing touchdown, man, that should spark this whole team. Like, the comeback is more than on now. Like, they got the touchdown. They cut into the lead. You want to get a stop and go into the half, get all the juices, all the excitement, and be like, listen, the passing game's rolling. We got this. The comeback's in full effect.
Lining up to add another. And it's up and good as they draw just a touch closer. This offense prides itself on going after you, and they did with that long touchdown pass to finish off a two-play drive. And he'll bring it back. Nice job by the kickoff team. Everybody stayed in their lanes, and they'll stop him at the 16.
We'll take over. 1st and 10.
So let's see how they play it in this final 30 seconds of the first half. The back goes in motion. Looking to throw. This will likely be the last play of the half. Quick touch pass to the receiver. They make the stop, and that is the end of the first half. So that's going to do it here in the first half. Stay tuned for the halftime break. The Gamecocks will kick it off to start the second half. Fielded in the end zone, it's Wilson. I know he thinks he can house every return, but sometimes you just have to take a knee as he stopped at the 14. The Kansas offense returns to the field. Quick pass on the fly motion. Not a lot of room there. Give him a couple to the 16. Kept it on the ground on first down. Now back to the line. DB's right up on the receivers. Looking to throw, it's Daniels. Swings it out to his running back. What a cut, now he's loose. The expressway is wide open at the 20. Waltzes into the end zone, but he might be dancing the other way. There's a flag on the field. They'll decline the penalty here, and the result of the play stands. Ready to try the point after. And the extra point is good, and they have an 11-point lead. They wasted no time on that drive. 2 plays, touchdown just like that. The kickoff team on the field as they'll send this one away. Fielded in the end zone. It's Harbor. And they'll haul down the returner to start us on the next drive. South Carolina ready to go on the attack in another offensive odyssey. Last time they had it, they took it down the field for a touchdown. They can build some confidence that they could go back-to-back scoring drives here.
Yeah, and remember, it's not uncommon for offenses to find themselves as the game goes on. They had some things not go their way early, but they found something last drive, David. Let's see if they can build on it.
Yeah, you just pick and pick and pick until you find that place where you're like, okay, this is an advantage I have. They clearly found that, dude. They score here, we're in for a ball game.
On second down, he'll let it fly. Makes the catch. It's Sanders. Finally run out of bounds, but he has this offense rolling with a first down.
Smart play by the quarterback. Nothing open. Dump it off to your running back. And listen, he's a running back. He's used to having the ball in his hands, and he's a big running back. So if you want to bring that to the ground in the open field, it's very difficult. Great job by the running back making a play.
And it's incomplete. If you're going to take a hit like that, you might as well hang on to the ball.
Well, it was was a good throw. It was a good route, but it was the hit that forced that incompletion.
They'll line up for a second down play. Quarterback checking the play. Looking downfield, it's Sellers. Forced out of the pocket. Now he'll throw back into the middle. And he's got it inside the 25. Slippery slide, find his way and ran away from the crowd into the end zone. Touchdown Gamecocks!
Well, as a defense, you know you're going to see the go-round, especially against this guy. He does it to defenses, it seems, every single week, and so they're not able to get back deep enough. They get run by, he makes the catch, and then runs it into the end zone. They're going to have to change up their coverage and get some safety help up over the top, because this guy's speed is a problem.
And with the extra point, they close it to a 28-24 game. Quick work on that scoring drive, just 4 plays. And they finish with a bang, a 71-yard scoring strike. Lining up to cover the kick after that touchdown drive. Oh, he's going to take a chance and bring it out. Didn't find any crease in that kickoff coverage, and he'll be stopped at the 17.
Offense will take over. First and 10.
Kansas gets the ball back, and the Jayhawk offense is ready to go to work. Boy, David, they would love to stack another touchdown on top of that last drive.
And this offense did such a good job on the last drive. Everything in rhythm, moved the ball down the field, didn't make those mistakes, Jesse, and they need to do it again on this one.
Yeah, you're right. They had the defense on their heels. You wonder what sort of communication was going on that sideline. What sort of changes were they able to make, because they got to stop the bleeding right now.
They'll snap this one from the 30 on 1st and 10. Used the play fake, now to throw. Got away from trouble and got rid of it. Just a short pass to the tight end. Oh, the ball's on the ground. Defense coming up with a huge fumble recovery. And he's brought down, and this defense gets the ball back for its own.
You run an offense when you're going to pitch the ball and you're going to lateral. There's danger to it, right? There's reading things that have to happen when you pitch it. Don't get hit while you're pitching it so it goes all over the place. Great job by the defense being disciplined, understanding, causing the fumble, recovering the fumble, creating a big turnover for this team.
From the gun, they'll try to impose their will. Brought down at the 32-yard line. Picks up 15 yards on the play and an important first down.
That has got to be demoralizing if you're on defense, because they just ran the ball right up the middle, down your throats, and they gashed you.
Gets it out fast. They make the stop, but the sweet throwing catch is plenty to give them a first down.
And a great job by the QB finding the running back, getting the football where he can do some damage after the catch, and most importantly, get the first down.
They're down to the 20, 1st and 10. From the gun, they'll try to impose their running game. And how about the efficiency on that one? It'll bring up 2nd and 4.
Listen, you got to be able to know what play to call and what hole to go through. Like the line blocks for a certain hole. Good job getting through the hole, getting what was blocked, getting a nice positive gain, making your situation really good on the next down.
From the gun, to give, looking for room. Runs through the tackle. Gets it all the way down to the 2-yard line. He was fighting for that end zone.
This offense has to get this guy the ball in as many ways as possible. He showed you all of his tools on that last play.
And the Gamecocks have it in scoring position on 1st and goal. They'll try to get it in with the run. And they try the middle of this defense, and
job by the defense. Everybody firing off the ball, hitting their guys, holding their gaps, running to the football, nowhere to go.
Got nothing last time. Now 2nd and goal from the 3. He'll run it to the right, looking for the goal line. And again, he gets nothing. This defense is not giving up anything on the goal line. After getting nothing on the last play, will they try to run it in from the 2 on 3rd down? Now on the option. That just never had a chance as they controlled the middle of the field and stopped him in the backfield on 3rd down.
That's the end of the 3rd quarter. With the score, Kansas 28, South Carolina 24.
Trailing and getting deep in the game, they'll go for it here on 4th and goal. And I don't think they got it snapped before the play clock ran out. That is a completely avoidable penalty. The quarterback just went into brain lock and lost track of the play clock. And now on 4th down, they will put it on the shoulders of the kicker to save them with his foot.
And that's massive. All the pressure on your defense now. You've made the field goal. You've got to get the ball back. You need one more kick. That's what you need. And so the defense has to be ready to take the field right now, play with intensity, play with energy, and get it back to the offense quickly.
So the kickoff team is out there ready to boot it away after putting up a field goal. Let's see what the defense can do. On the run from inside his own 5. Couldn't find a way to create that broken field as he stopped at the 25.
Kansas offense will take over. 1st and 10.
The Kansas offense returns to the field. Touch pass on the jet sweep. Not much doing there. He gets it to the 26, a gain of 1.
On down at the 26-yard line. Brings up 2nd down.
After trying the running game, let's see if they do it again on 2nd down. Dropping back, it's Daniels. And the completion gives him a fresh set of downs and keeps this drive moving.
You know, it's a nice throw by the QB there. When you're throwing to running backs, you got to make it easy on them. So you want to put it right on their body, make the catch simple, and let them go to work like they did just there, getting that first.
Now from the 36-yard line, it's 1st and 10. He's going to pass. Quarterback moving out of the pocket. Can't find his man as he took a shot trying to deliver that football, and it'll be 2nd down.
I like the offensive idea here to try to change the launch point of the QB, but you've got to do a better job protecting him because guys can't complete passes when they're getting hit.
Now inside 4 minutes to go here on 2nd down. He's looking to throw. Caught in the backfield. It's Arnold. He's brought down, but there's a flag on the field. Let's see which way that's going to go. So the offense, more than happy with the result of the play, will decline the penalty. The Jayhawks will snap it on 1st and 10. They'll put the tight end in motion. Wants to throw on 1st down. And he was hit just as he was releasing the pass, and it falls to the ground incomplete.
And that defender was just smothering the quarterback on that screen attempt. You know, the QB's taught to hold on to it to the last possible second. He had no shot trying to negotiate that defender.
And here comes the offense on 2nd down. These DBs going to give a little cushion. This guy can throw it. And to get rid of it quickly. That pass is incomplete, and they're probably fortunate that it wasn't knocked free for a fumble.
Doesn't take this defense a lot of time to get to the quarterback, man. They've got speed all over the place. They hit him so quickly, and because of that, the ball falls incomplete.
This is the type of play that could be a pivotal moment. Tight game, 3rd and long coming. Pre-snap motion, quarterback trying to get a read. He couldn't find anywhere to go, and now it's 4th down. And the Jayhawks headed quickly to the line. The offense will have to use its first timeout of the half.
Timeout, Kansas.
The Jayhawks will bring the punt team onto the field. The punters have had the day off up to this point. First one of the game. Running it back, it's Harbor. Pretty solid coverage there, and they'll stop him at the 26. And the South Carolina offense is back on the field. Always good to get points on a drive, David, but chip shot field goals can leave you a little empty.
And I think it's great to get points, but the great teams get touchdowns in the red area. You got to get out there this time and execute a little better on this drive.
You're absolutely right, David. Generally, the best red zone offenses are the ones that run the ball the best. So, let's see if they can be a little bit more physical on this drive.
Dropping back, it's Sellers. Quarterback on the move, still looking. He'll throw one to his right. And he makes the catch inside the 25. He's there to make the stop, but not before he sets up this offense 1st and goal from the 7.
What a beautiful throw and catch on this play, and I love the job the receiver did tracking the ball in the air. Nice job of locating the throw and then hauling it in.
A 1st down run on the doorstep. Touchdown, Gamecocks! And with that, they move out front here in the 4th.
And this offense really showing their physicality, running the football when it matters, in the 4th quarter, in crunch time, to take the lead in this football game.
Now a 2-point conversion attempt coming up. Caught behind the line. It's Simon. He gets it into the end zone for the 2 to push that lead out to 7. Quick strike offense on that 3-play scoring drive. And he found his way to the end zone from the 7 to cap it. Almost ready to kick it away after scoring the touchdown. The ball bounces through the end zone, and it will be a touchback. Kansas gets the ball back, and the Jayhawk offense is ready to go to work. They hope to be able to cash in on this drive, David, after having to punt it last time.
Yeah, and I think this offense needs to start it with the first play. You need to be successful and productive on that first play, and it gets you in less predictable situations.
No doubt, too. Don't you just feel like there's a little bit more sense of urgency on this drive? It just feels like they've got to be able to put some points up on the board here.
He's run out of bounds, but not before. Turning in a big pickup and moving the sticks for a first down.
It's so important this offense is able to get this guy the ball in space, especially on the perimeter of the field. And I love that last play call because he's able to get outside and use his speed. To me, that's where this guy is his most dangerous.
The give to the tailback. He has an extensive juke library, and he exhausted it and still didn't pick up much. We've reached the 2-minute warning, and the defense needs to come up with a stop to close this thing out. Offense gets set for second down. Back to throw, it's Daniels. Using the back as a receiver on the screen. And they knocked him down, but he got past the line to gain.
Nice job by the running back, catching the football and understanding where the first down marker was. I got to go get that first down. He did a nice job of it.
Big drive for this offense late, trying to tie the game. They pieced together a couple of first downs, and here they come again. Motion trying to get the defense to show his hand. Off the play fake on first down to throw. And he can't find anyone open, and down he goes. A sack here late in the fourth.
I know you want to make a play, you're down, you're trailing, it's getting late in the game, but he has to understand, when nothing's there, I can't take a sack. The clock is my enemy.
He's going to pass on second down. And the ball is picked off. He'll try to take it back. A really good return after the interception puts them in business at the 29.
It's such a fine line offensively. Late in the game, you've got to score, you've got to make big plays, but you can't turn the football over. Big-time mistake. This one might cost them.
South Carolina ready to go on the attack in another offensive odyssey. And now, Jesse, the art here is to find the balance between milking the clock and trying to get another score.
I think if you're the coaching staff, too, you like to see your team play its best in the fourth quarter, right? Defense just did their job, so offense now, David, has to go out and handle their business.
Yeah, you got the momentum. Because of the defense, they've given you some momentum. They've given you a great opportunity to take hold of this game and really put a stamp on it.
Didn't get much done on that first play of the drive. It's 2nd and 11. Wide receiver coming across in motion. Touch pass on the run. He's there to make the stop, and they threw it in reverse, losing yardage on that play. Timeout called there by the defense, desperate to get the ball back and save as much time as possible. Third play of the drive, and they need to make something happen here on 3rd and long. Running back searching for a hole. And he'll pick up the first down after a tough run there.
Man, this offense would really like to lean on this guy in the fourth quarter, right? They've got the lead, and you just saw his ability there, breaking a tackle. He looks like he's getting stronger as the game goes on. I'd expect him to get a few more carries here before this game's over.
And the quarterback takes the snap and kneels down. It's one thing to execute early in the game. Tight ball game, right at the end. You need the clutch plays. These guys deliver.
And you can't teach that gene. You have people that can focus in the moment or they can't. Great job by the team, staying focused, understanding it's a close battle, win those one play at a time, and then look up, and then, heck, I got the win.
Yeah, David, they just had ice in their veins, and you can tell there's tremendous leadership on this football team. Guys can step up, and in the huddle, they can make sure that everybody else is focused to the task at hand in order to get the W.
That's going to do it for us. For Jesse Palmer, David Pollack, our entire broadcast team, I'm Reese Davis. This has been another presentation of EA Sports College Football.